What is up, everyone? I'm bored, so I was like, well, I got a camera here and I got my computer here. So if I'm looking off, it's not because yeah. So I'm bored today, and I decided, well, why not do a little work on the layout? It's finally, the temperatures are getting up. It's thawing out. We got snow and ice outside melting. I got my phone going too, so sorry if y'all got an echo on that. And so the temperatures, heating up now, and it's still cold, but it's not like unbearable to come out here and work. So, and it looks like the only person that I've got in here right now besides myself is M&M Short Lines Marty. Thanks. I got it cut yesterday. So it's been long overdue. So I'm going to kind of grab my camera here, and I'm going to show you what I'm working on if I don't drop it first. So this is where the cattle ranch is going, and it looks like I've got the name up for a vote on my Patreon account for my Patreon members, and it looks like it's going to get named High Stakes. That was the last that I saw. It looks like we got Dwight Curley in here, Wicked Insanity, and John from the Mystic Southern Railway. Welcome. And Bang Got You Junction, Carl Braun. Awesome. Welcome. So the first thing that I need to do on this, and I thought I'd just kind of walk y'all through me actually doing it, is I got to get more lighting installed. And I went ahead and I've got a spool, and I'm gonna go ahead and angle you down so you can see everything I'm doing. There we go. So I've got some wire already ran here, and this is actually connecting to the rest of the lights that are farther on the layout, but it's basically nothing but a spool of lamp wire. And what I'm using is I've got these porcelain lamp sockets from Satco. These are actually really awesome to use, in my opinion, because all you have to do, if you got 1x4s like what I'm using, or a 2x4, I mean, it's literally you just mount it, screw it in. They give you a little cut here on the side for your wires to hang out. And then once you get it wired in, flip your breaker back on. Yes, I've already got the breaker flipped off, so there ain't no possible chance for me to get electrical shock. I don't think that would look good on YouTube. But let's see who else we got here. We got Lee from Enfield Road Layout in the Loft is here. Joe Rader is here. And I'm not seeing anybody else. And let me see if I can go back in here on my live chat. There we go. I like looking off my phone a little bit better. We got Leamington Station here. Welcome. Because this StreamYard does not update as fast as regular YouTube for some reason. So I don't know what that is. Dwayne's Fork and Spoon is here. Matthew Whitmore. Let's see. I got Bernard C. here as well. So looks like we got a decent crew here. Al Mars in. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to try to keep up with the chat the best I can, y'all. All right, so the screws I'm using, these are little bitty, I don't know, I guess these are what, maybe let me see if I can get them under camera first, a 1/4 inch. And these actually, they're deck screws, and these have a T20 head on them, and that's what I use to screw these light fixtures or lamp sockets in. And I don't use a drill on this because sometimes you can get overpowered with the porcelain, and you definitely don't want to break these things. And you cannot get these at your local big big box stores like Home Depot or Lowe's. I have tried, so I had to order these online. And I think in one of my older layout update videos, I have actually put the links where I ordered these from, and I will try to go back and dig that up, and I will add it to this live stream as well. So that way, if this is a route that you want to go, it's definitely doable. Now, you can get what's called pigtails, and I've got those over here to the side. And I'm just making sure that these are snug to where they're not moving. But let me grab those pigtails real quick. These I got at Home Depot, and I think Lowe's carries these as well. But they look like this. And these would be okay to use if I was to like drill a hole here with like a hole saw and then, stick it in that way. So that is a doable option. But typically when you have, your layout, you want your light going, from the front to the back. So that way your shadows are on the side that you're not seeing. Because every time you have light, you're going to have shadows. Now, if you got enough light, then you're probably not going to have shadows. So let's see who else we got here. We got Real Toy Trains, Pete Clark. I'm going to scroll up in the chat and see if I missed anybody. I don't know if I did or didn't. And if I did miss you, I apologize. I am human, so, well, I'm not Heath human, but I am a person, and I do make lots of mistakes from time to time. All right, so I've got the first one in. I am going to see if I can move the camera without yanking it off. All right, there we go. See if I can angle it a little better. Yeah, there. That's a little better. So like I said, I'm just using these. I want to say these are 1/4 inch screws. I think they're 1/4 inch. I don't think they're quite 5/8. And these are screws that I've actually obtained from my old layout that I used to have, that I would screw the plywood in to the bench work. And for those who like Talenti ice cream, these make great containers for different types of screws and stuff. So definitely something to keep in mind. Let's see, grab the screwdriver again. Now, as far as putting the lights on here, it doesn't matter if you do it this way or this way. I mean, you could go that way if you wanted to. I kind of like to do them up and down. And have my wires pointed to one side, but that's just a personal preference. And I'm only going to hook up the 3 lights today to get the cattle ranch. I will actually go and hook up the other lights later on around it. Now, as far as measuring, I try to get these as center as possible. If you try to measure all the way to the top, then when you put your plywood on your bench work, it's going to hit the bulb. And your bulb's not going to screw in, and that's not going to be good to have broken glass all over your layout. If you put your fixture all the way to the bottom, then your bulb sticks out like a sore thumb. So, and it doesn't matter if you're perfect up and down or if you're a little bit, diagonal. I mean, it's to your preference. We got Mystic John in here cracking jokes again, because I see haha missed it, or Pete Clark saying that. Hey, we got Tim from CP368 Productions is here. What's up, buddy? We got Lackawanna Rail fan Tyler, and I did order that Lackawanna route of Phoebe Snow boxcar. It just hasn't came in yet, so it should be in any day. Melvin Fackler's here. Welcome, Melvin. All right, let me see. What did I do? There's my other light fixture. So I was originally going to make this scene here just kind of like wooded with maybe like a field or something. I wasn't really quite decided what I was going to do with the scene. And I guess since I put that, this dude right here on the backdrop, and the backdrop did have one little piece of imperfection on it where they, because it was so long, he basically had to take the left side of the photo and crop it to the right side of the photo. And in the clouds, you really can't tell, but in the trees, you can tell. And once I put that building back there, I was like, man, this looks really, really good as far as like maybe making it like a cattle ranch where, there's trees in the background, and that would be less trees I would actually have to buy and put on the layout. Hey, we got Island Scenics here. Welcome. And Matthew Whitmore, I can't remember if I said your name or not, but he is here as well. So I asked all my supporters on Patreon, I was like, all right, y'all, I need a name for this ranch. And it's just going to be cattle. And that's one of the things I like to do with my Patreon subscribers is, get them involved in the layout as well. And so a couple of them gave me some names, and I've actually got the vote up right now. So if you are a Patreon subscriber and you haven't voted, make sure you get in on that too. Hey, Rail Artist. You are not late, man. I'm actually just getting started. The party is getting started. So what I'm working on right now is I'm adding more lighting to the layout because the layout's just dark on this side. And it's much easier if you do it before you add your bench work on the upper level. Heat wave in Wisconsin next week may hit 37. Wicked, I think we are at 36 right now, and it is a heat wave compared to where we had been. And us down here in Arkansas, we are not used to these temperatures. And it actually got to -1 the other night, and it set many records across the state. We're just not used to this. So, all right. So what I'm doing now, this is a, let me see if I can angle y'all a little more. I've got my camera on a GoPro mount, so I have to kind of finagle it. And my wire's getting a little taut. Let's try that. There we go. So this piece of the wire that's going that way, it's already connected to the next outlet. And I did cut the power off, so there is no electricity to it. My breaker box is actually down, not in the corner, but right up under the bottom level. And I will turn that on to test here in a little bit. Let's see, do we got anybody else that just came in? Oh, Rick Bailey's in the house. What's up, Rick? Let's see if anybody else came in. And I'm not seeing anybody. So, all right. So we got the first STS crew member here. Welcome, welcome. So now what I'm doing is just basically taking my lamp wire here, and I'm just going to kind of trim the ends. And if anybody is wondering what I'm using to cut, these are actual electrician's scissors, or we like to call them snips. And I mean, these are some good stuff. And I'm just basically stripping the ends off. Now, if you're asking me, well, the wires look black. I mean, they're both black. I get it. I'm going to pull this one out so you could probably see it. But one side, I don't know if you can tell or not. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I don't think you can see it. Well, out of the wire here, this one here actually has some small white writing on it. The other one does not. So what I'm doing is the side that's got the white writing, that's the side that I'm wiring up to the white. See anybody else come in? Nope, not that I'm seeing. And then, of course, what I'll end up using is these wire nuts to tie them in together. Hey, the other Jason from the other side of the pond is here. What's going on, Barnabas? What's up, buddy? And I might have cut these here just a little too long because you definitely don't want your copper any longer than the wire nuts themselves. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and twist them and then kind of cut them to length. And I need new scissors. I've had these for about 10 years now. There we go. And if you're wondering where you can find those scissors, you can go to Lowe's, Home Depot, any other store, and they're typically in the electrical tools department. So if you try to go to if you go to Home Depot, don't go to tools. You got to go to electrical. And they're over there where the electrician's tools are located. All right, so now I'm going to look on here. I got the white, and this one's got the white writing. So I'm going to get those together, and I'm going to get this one with the white as well. Get these all twisted because these are all braided cable. And I don't know how well y'all can see this. And grab a wire nut. And try to get all three ends in there and just start twisting like crazy. And eventually it'll braid them all around each other. And voila. And then what I'll do is I'll come back and slap some electrical tape on top of them. Hey, Kieran's here. J94, welcome. All right, and now I'm going to do this for the black side or the black wire. Same thing. And I think I got one that's a little too long. Let me cut that down. Like I said, these scissors, man, I'm gonna have to go invest in some new ones. These about had it. I used to do telecommunications, and I still do IT, for a living. But I used to do telephone systems before I got my degree in computer networking, and those are my scissors from way back when. So they have been through the ringer. Mark Arnold, hello. That wire reminds me of a loudspeaker cable that I had. One side had a line and the other one not. I forgot I could actually do that. So, Mark, speaking of, this is a spool of just regular lamp wire for lamp fixtures. But if you're talking about the loudspeaker wire, that's this, which is actually easier to tell. And this is what I use for my track bus, not for my feeder wires, but my track bus. And that's because the wires on the inside are actually different colors. One is copper and one is silver. And that spool of speaker wire I actually picked up from Radio Shack when they actually had stores. Hey, Manny Fernandez, how are you doing, bud? All right. So we got one light fixture wired up. The bulbs I'm using, these are LEDs. I got these from Home Depot, and these are 60-watt replacements. They actually only use 7.5 watts, which is perfect. And they are dimmable, so that's one thing you need to make sure that they're dimmable. And they're rated daylight, which is 5,000 Kelvin. and the lighting temperature. All right, so that's one bulb. Now, sometimes something else I use is these things here. They're called low voltage staples. And I really like these because these you actually hammer in. I don't know if y'all can see that. Let's see if I can do it this way. It's got the nail head on there, so you actually just hold it up there and then tap it in place. And that actually helps keep your wire from moving. And I got a hammer here somewhere. So that way we don't have wire hanging from under the bench work, because that's not going to make the layout look pretty. Like I said, I'll come back later and I'm going to wrap this up with electrical tape to kind of keep that pulled up. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to move to this side here. And we're going to cut that wire, and I'm going to angle you where you can see me a little better. Let's see, anybody else show up? You know, Wicked, man, I wish they still had Radio Shacks here. I used to buy so much stuff from them just for this hobby. And it's just sad, you know, that they closed all their stores. And I remember when my brother used to work for them, and he would get me employee discounts all the time. So, like, it really helped. But things such as, like, toggle switches and, you know, wire, I mean, everything. I'll just go to Radio Shack and go pick it up. I know, Rick. That's crazy, huh? But see, Rick, I also use these low voltage staples for everything else, too. I use it for the track bus itself. I use it for... I don't see the spool near me, but I got a spool of communication wire. It's jumper wire. Basically like a single pair of what would be in a Cat 5 or a Cat 6. And I use them to kind of help keep my wires neat and tidy. All right, get these all nice and twisted up too. All right. One bulb broken now with the hammering. Little Freak is inside because he said it's too cold. He did not want to come out here. I gave him the option, and he said, nope, too cold. All right. So that's got the white writing on it, and that one's got the white writing. And we're going to match these up with the white wire. Tim, that doesn't surprise me. Most of the employees at Radio Shack didn't know what they were doing, and I think that was part of their downfall. You know, because they did not provide the best customer service in store. So, all right, that is 2 fixtures down. And let's see here. Here's my hammer. I'm going to pour a few of those out. Tell you one thing. It is cold out here, but there is no way I could do this stuff with gloves on. There. Oh, I'm not going to go in. There we go. Yeah. All right. And when I put these staples on, I like to put the nails at the bottom because it holds the staple, the wire above it, which I think does better. And I'm sorry if that's loud. Rick, I did not realize you were not a mod, my friend. Let me fix you. All right, Rick, you're officially a tool. Some people say wrench. I like the word tool. It just sounds better. All right. Now I got to open this box of bulbs. And as soon as I get that one in, that would be 2 out of 3 complete. Marty, I don't want to hear it. 75 degrees. Man, I wish it was 75. It has been cold. And I know y'all people up in the north and the Midwest is like, ha, ha, ha. Well, at least y'all expect it every year. We don't. You know, it's one of those things like for us, you know, our version of cold is like 30s and 40s. And that's because we rarely ever see single digit temperatures. And I am talking in Fahrenheit for y'all on the other side of the pond that use Celsius. That's if y'all use Celsius. I don't know what y'all use. But for us here in Arkansas, especially Central Arkansas, Northwest, that's kind of a different animal. Single digit temperatures is pretty rare. Sub-zero, which we got to -1 the other night. And it caused a pipe in my house to burst, which I did get that fixed, so no bingo there. Loving the shirt. Manny, are you talking about my hoodie? Or whose shirt are you talking about? All right. So let's see here. I'm going to make this the last one here. So I'm going to move my spool out of the way. And then, like, with the snow, I mean, we got hammered. You know, my brother, who used to work for Radio Shack, now he works for the highway department. They do not have the equipment nor the resources to handle, so much snow that we have received. And where he lives at, they received over 18 inches, almost 20 inches of snow out of 2 storms. And he has been working 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week. Half the crew has been working the first half. The other half of the crew works the second half, trying to keep the roads maintained during those storms. And the first round of snow came in on Monday, and it snowed all day Monday. And then the second round came in on Wednesday and snowed all day. And I mean, it's just not a good situation. And we're finally got above freezing today. And so I'm actually listening right out the garage door here. Everything melting. All right. Which one's got the white writing? This one does. Manny, I appreciate it. This one's actually one of my older ones. And the inside material is thermal, which really helps. Oop, that wasn't good. And I think I hear my neighbor outside with this tractor too. But like I said, for y'all people up in the Northeast and the Midwest and where y'all get a lot of snow every year, I mean, y'all expect it, you know. And I'm not saying that y'all don't have a right to complain, because everybody's got a right to complain. I'm just saying there's a difference between expecting it and not expecting it. And we were not expecting it. All right. I think I'm done with all that stuff. Let me put the bulb in. And I'm going to slap the breaker on. And one of two things is going to happen. We're either going to have some light bulbs come on or we're going to have an electrical fire. And so, fingers crossed, we'll hope for the light bulbs to work. So, give me just a second, y'all. And voila, we have light. Holy smokes, that makes that backdrop look 20 times better. All right, I'm going to turn that off so that way I'm not blinding y'all no more. There it goes. So, my first goal for the day has been accomplished, so yay. Snowing where Tim's at. So Tim is still getting snow. Well, our schools have been closed all week. So it's like the students got like a week of spring break in February instead of March. So I am curious to see how it is going to work when they start doing schools. You know, if they're going to get another spring break or whatnot. All right, y'all. I'm going to see where I want to figure how I want to position this camera so that way y'all can see what I'm going to be working on. Sorry if it's shaking. Let me see if I can I go further back? Yes, I can. All right. See if I can go a little further down. Okay, I'm going to come back up one more. We're going to go here. But I'm going to try to get it to where the light's not in y'all's eyes so that way we can get some light down there. Okay. Let's see how that looks. Hold on just a sec, y'all. Yeah, we don't have too much of a glare. We just got a cable in the way. Let's see if I can get that cable over there. Stay. All right, so, and I know y'all can't see it, but I've already put in the switch for the industry that's going to go right here. And so this is going to be the stockyard. And since it's in close proximity to the yard, oh, okay, hold on.
What's up? How's everything?
So far going good, I guess. I don't have an electrical fire, so.
I had the fire marshal on standby for you.
I heard that. They would have had to fight through all the snow to get here.
That's true. That's true.
So, but yeah, I felt like since I was going to work in this area on the layout, I needed some lighting first.
That makes
So
sense.
I was like, what better than to go ahead and show everybody how I do my lighting. I'm going to bring the camera down. And so I've already got over there, you can see where I put in a number 4 switch.
Right.
And this was part of the balloon loop that I took out. And so I still need to connect the balloon loop to the straight leg of the switch, but the diverging track's actually what's going to feed this industry. And so that is where I'm at today. And so my Patreons, they have submitted some pretty cool names for the ranch. I've got High Stakes. High Stakes, which I thought was pretty cool. And it's kind of like a poker term. And then the other one is Meat and Jerk. So I'm putting it up to a vote to them to see which one they want to go with. And right now, the last time I checked, High Stakes is in the lead. So
okay, that's good.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned about the Meat and Jerk one, but I get it. Maybe if it was Meat and Jerky. So
I'm not touching that one, bud. I'm not touching that one.
I mean, it goes pretty good with the Shack Sit Furniture Company, All right. So I guess the next thing I need to figure out is I stole my son's ruler because I couldn't find mine. Is I got to figure out where this track is going to go. And I'm going to sit down for this.
Why don't you make me smaller so people can see what you're doing?
Yeah, I can do that.
Turn me off the side. This way people can watch you. They don't want to see me. There you go.
Well, if you want to keep an eye on chat, that would really help.
I absolutely will, my friend.
So the thing is, did you see I got that gluing jig for the Katie coupler?
I did. I saw the picture. I have one. One did not come in that test kit that I got, but I have one from years back.
Okay.
It's awesome. It works perfectly.
Now, have you used it for 100 or 83 or both?
Both, because one side will do 83, the other side will do 100.
Okay.
So it flips over.
Well, that's good to know. And of course, I got my line completely off. Where's Heath at? I need to blame him for something.
It was only a matter of time.
He told me he's going to spend some time with his girlfriend today, and I don't blame him. I mean, he's on here a lot.
Yeah.
And it is Saturday. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just using a straight ruler to kind of figure out where I want my track to go, the siding, because I'm going to put in a couple of stock pins.
So John's here.
Do what?
John's here. John.
Hey.
John too.
What's up, John? Scookhill. John number 2.
CP3 368 Productions says, "Is that anything like Rick's Wood Warehouse?"
Well, I mean, I do got the sawmill. I could rename it from Peckerwood to Rick's. I mean, it hasn't been built yet either. All right. I think that's really all I need as far as my line goes. And the reason why I'm using line to draw is because I use this cork row bed that breaks in half.
Yep. Love that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Me too. And it's much easier getting it set on a straight line than it is... I mean, even on a curved line too, than trying to guess, And let's see, I got track nails here somewhere. Somewhere I do. I mean, I'm like everybody else. I end up losing all my stuff. But I see them. They were behind me. Steve Anderson's locomotives that I've been working on were hiding them.
Ah.
I mean, look at my hammer. It's been through the ringer. I've had to wrap it in electrical tape.
Oh my
Nice
God.
hat.
That's a sign of a good tool when you rather fix it than replace it.
Right. I mean, it gets the job done. And I like these because you can actually get in between the rail without hitting it.
Yep.
The only time I have to use what's called a nail sink is the nail in the turnouts.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if y'all can't see that on camera, but right there where there's like 4 rails, right in front of the frog.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually going to start this over here on the end, and it's probably off camera, but I'll make my way back.
Jason, do you normally take off that little extra lip that's on there, or how do you deal with that?
I don't. So I really don't deal with it because it actually helps with the ballast, believe it or not.
Okay.
I mean, when you ballast it, I mean, you're not going to see it either way it goes.
Okay.
I know some people who do, and I mean, you could take, some sandpaper and do it that way. And then I know some people, they will glue their road bed to the layout. I don't like gluing mine.
Okay.
And the reason being, because if I need to make a change, all I got to do is use some of these
to
pop the nails out, make my change, and I don't have destroyed cork road bed.
Right.
Because there's been many times I'd have to go back and, make an adjustment. So I just use track nails to hold everything down. And I mean, you've seen the only issues that I really have as far as my layout goes is bench work. And it's because either I've rushed it or I didn't pay attention. Probably a combination of both. Now, one thing I'm probably going to have to do here that I can't follow my line, which is okay, is to make sure that I have enough spacing in between. And that's why I haven't nailed anything over here yet.
Sure.
And of course, glue takes longer to set. But, just regular track nails, that's all I use. And the guy who showed this to me from the hobby shop, he's been doing this hobby for many years. He has told me that there's been times he's glued it. There's been times he's used track nails, and he prefers the track nail method, and it's mainly because of making changes. So,
Container Man said, "Stop buying the cheap wood," or is that Cheap Rick?
Cheap Rick. All right. Now, the other thing about the cork road bed, a lot of people don't know is if you're using it to continue, you never use 2 pieces that are butted like that. You kind of want one of them kind of offset.
Right.
At least 6 inches. Looks like we got Fox Hill in here as well. And I think I saw Mark Donegal's dad pop in as well. So hello to y'all. And I don't think anybody else except, Chuck, CDP 1965 popped on in. And then, of course, Rory, Container Man. He's here as well. So 26 people, that's not bad. Just to watch me goof around and probably screw something up.
2719.
It's not bad at all. Now, so what I will do is cut one of these a little short, and I've got some scrap pieces in a tote behind me that I'll continue from here to the cork roll that ends just you can barely see the cork roll there at the top where the one beside it ends. Now, as far as like nailing it, when I'm in the curves, I do put the nails closer together to hold that curve in much better.
Oh, now it's going to hell. Ray just jumped in.
So it looks like the STS loser for the day is Heath. Wah, wah, wah. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one in here to kind of hold that. And then I will use it and just kind of follow along. So to make it look like the track parallels, and then it kind of comes off the track a little bit.
Rail Artist said the cattle ranch. Is that code word for the house of ill repute?
That's funny. Now, the other thing is I've got this line here. I don't know if y'all can tell or not, but this is code 100. I'm going to use code 83 here. Oh, we got trouble. We got trouble.
Hey, buddy.
What's up,
Ryan? Oh, man.
What is happening?
Oh, all sorts of stuff.
Are you
finally shipped out a package from December?
Oh my gosh!
Wait, you shipped it out from December? Holy smokes!
So you got a red light district there, huh, Jason?
Not just that, but you can get your tobacco there too.
John Q said, "Oh no, it's going downhill now."
That's like I was saying earlier. I was on Back on Track, and Claude from Cowboy and Timberline Valley Railroad was saying that he likes to watch channels for a good laugh. I said, if you get the STS crew together, just any of us, laughs are guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, pretty much. Pretty much. I think I might change the name of my channel to the non-serious model railroader, but you know, it's.
Hey, that would be a good name. Hey, I would definitely support that.
Tommy Fred's Train said, thought I'd stop in and say howdy.
Hey, Tommy.
White Wall Wheels. Finally got the extension wire on my feeding chickens.
Feeding chickens, okay.
All right.
Chicken was one, I think. I don't know what that's about, Wicked. But, okay. So, is this an extension to the switcher yard? Yes and no. This is actually on the bottom level. I'm going to go ahead and give y'all kind of a panoramic view. So, the camera's going to move.
All right.
So,
hold your lunch.
Hold your lunch.
Is over there. And so actually when a train comes in, the yard switcher is actually going to feed this industry. The one that you are probably thinking of with all the different components is up here on the second level. So Fox Hill, I hope that answered your question.
Hey, Manny. Hey, everybody else that I didn't say hi to.
There we go. Oh, I got the bulb in the view. I'm not trying to
got a little warm for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, I thought Jason just had a bright idea.
Ray, if it was me having a great idea, that would have been a black light.
Oh, okay.
A black light in a red light district?
Yeah. Why not?
So Jason, how's the ice out there?
It's finally starting to melt.
Oh, lucky you.
The 1 inch of ice or 1.5 inches of ice and Here we got roughly 8 to 12 inches of snow between the two storms. My table, my outside table on the back patio looked like a powder donut. Because it's got the little hole in the middle for the umbrella to go through.
Right.
So
right.
never filled in the middle, so it looked like a powdered donut.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Well, the thing of it was is I had a doctor's appointment yesterday at 11:30, so I cleaned off the truck, and of course I've got an incline on my driveway of about I don't know, it's about like this. Anyway,
Okay.
So I go ahead, get the truck cleaned off, go ahead and clean up some of the snow and ice that's out there. I go ahead and leave, do my running around, get back, park the truck back in the garage or back in the driveway. Go ahead, get lunch, go past the front window, look out, and the truck's at the end of the driveway.
Whoa!
I'm like, wait a minute. So I go back out. I'm like, all right, well, I'll just go ahead and I'll make sure I get at least 2 wheels on dry pavement. So I go ahead and I pull it back up and put 2 wheels on dry pavement. Go ahead and come down here yesterday afternoon, goofed off for a little bit, go back upstairs and get ready for bowling. Truck's back at the end of the driveway again.
Oh man.
I'm like, all right, well, that didn't work. So the whole time I'm at bowling last night, I come home, I'm thinking about, all right, so where the heck am I going to park the truck to where it doesn't end up out in the street? So when
I'm looking up.
thankfully, I was able to,
my driveway points towards the house, so
yeah, well,
it's going to go through my shed.
So I went ahead and actually ended up busting up like I don't know, a foot of ice last night, just so I had enough dry pavement to park the truck on. Woke up this morning, it was like right where I left it, so that was good. But yeah, I mean, it you know, here it is. You know, like Jason was saying, we had snowed and iced and snowed and iced and snowed and iced, and then we had more ice and then more snow, and then we're supposed to get more Monday.
No.
I'm like, I didn't know I moved to Alaska.
But see, and that's like I was telling everybody earlier, you know, us and especially Texas, we're not used to this.
No, you're not. No.
You know, our homes are not built for this. And we were using up so much electricity that the electrical companies had to do what's called rolling blackouts because the grid was at its max capacity. And that's just what made it worse on everybody, especially Texas, because they had to lose power.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks, Real Artist. I appreciate that. Yeah, and of course, I will have another video coming out here and probably in the next day or two, but some of the ideas that I had didn't quite work out the way that they were supposed to.
Well, I tell you, this is the first time I've touched the layout since Monday of last week. Since when Heath did Modeling Monday, and I might have been working on Steve Anderson's locomotive that day, but that's the last time I've actually touched the layout. It has been that cold.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm in a garage. It's not insulated. I mean, I got a space heater aimed on me right now, and it's 36 degrees out. And I'm okay. I feel pretty comfortable. So.
Yeah, I went out today and tried to clean up the driveway enough that we could go ahead and shuffle the cars, and it wasn't so bad busting it up, but man, that wind is just ridiculous today. It's like 30 degrees out and blowing like 25 to 30, maybe 40, and it's just brutal.
Yeah.
Ouch, Randall.
Hey, Randall's here.
Yep.
Yeah, and Wicked Insanity. Yeah, the truck found a way to slide its way down the driveway. I still have yet to figure out how that happened. But
Well,
yeah.
I would tell you, if I didn't have four-wheel drive, I probably would not have ventured out to Little Rock yesterday. And I mean, I think that, you know, it was weird. Like, the farther south of the state you went, the more snow. And, you know, my brother, he works for the highway department, and they have been running plows since Wednesday of last week because we had sleet, in round 1 and then 2 rounds of snow. And he told me he got 18 inches of snow at his house on the last storm alone.
Yikes.
Not including, 6 to 8 inches the storm before that. So, 2 feet? So, I got the road bed done. Yay.
All right.
Now I got to find some track.
And you can see it.
Yeah. And if I angle, let me turn the camera around this way and y'all might be able to see. You can see my ugly mug for a second. And let's see, can y'all see what the other end looks like? No, you can't. All right, there we go. So this is where it's going to end. And that should allow me to put a couple of stock pins right here. And let's see, I've got a couple of stock cars, so I'm going to grab these from the meat company. And for those who's wondering where my goats are here.
He said he was grabbing stock cars. I was wondering if they were Pontiacs or Chevys or Buicks or.
He's making a left turn.
Yeah. There you go. So that should be plenty of room, I would think. Let me get it down here on a. There we go.
Wow, CDP or CP368. Where are you at?
My driveway is lined with 3 4-foot high piles of snow.
I don't think it looks too terrible.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
See, I gotta keep the barn here because something that I realized is you can see where the picture was cropped here, but it didn't get photoshopped very well.
Oh.
It did on the top end, but not the bottom end. So that's why I got the barn right there because you can't tell.
No. Looks good there.
No one will know the difference.
Exactly. And so I'm going to have like a water trough and everything. And I've already figured out how I'm going to do my fencing, which will probably be toothpicks and sewing thread. Make it look like a barbed wire fence.
All right.
I was going to say fencing. Isn't that what they do in the Olympics?
Fencing?
Oh, God.
Yeah. That and on that Geico commercial, too.
Oh, yeah, that's just true. Yeah.
Touche.
Bless you.
Where they say, on guard. Get that daggone wire out of the way.
CP368, Western New York.
Just outside the Lake Erie snow belt. Yeah, I was going to say, the Western New York is usually, but you guys are kind of used to getting all that snow.
Yeah, y'all get that lake effect snow. So, I mean, just with all the snowfall that we got, it's been 3 years since we got 1 inch of snow. So we went 3 years with hardly getting any snow, and then we just get slammed.
Yeah.
So
last year we just had that ice. Look, we just had that ice storm down here last year around my birthday, which is when I fell and broke my wrist. But we really didn't have any appreciable amounts of snow at all last year.
No, last year was quiet for me too.
Yeah, this year's the exact opposite.
Oh man!
Yeah, I think all of last year, I think I pulled out the snowblower only once.
That groundhog, I want to kick his butt. He wasn't playing no games when he said, "Yeah, we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter."
Oh, absolutely.
He's over there playing jokes. All right, let's see here. Is this the... Yes. So this piece of track that I got here is courtesy of Marty M. Because I bought a whole bunch of flex track from him that was code 100, and he tossed in a couple of pieces of 83.
There you go.
And I had no clue that he did it. So now, one of the things on Code 83 Atlas Track versus 100, 100 they'll have the holes on the top of the ties. If you're using 83,
Got to
the
drill
holes
your
are
own.
on the bottom, so you got to actually poke a nail through the hole before you mount it on there. And the way I just do it is I will take the nail and just kind of poke it till it goes through.
You know, I never thought of doing that. Here I'm sitting there with a pin vise doing mine. Never thought of using a nail.
Yep, I just use a track nail. I don't know if you could see it. It's right on my middle finger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes too, when you cut of course, everybody is really familiar with this, but when you go ahead and you cut down the flex track, sometimes those holes don't end up where you want them, and you got to go ahead and use a pin vise to make extra holes to hold it in place. But
that or Pico track does not have holes in it, and I got these type of nails from the hobby shop.
Yep.
And they have like there you go. You can see it better there. And I'll actually nail it right beside the tie, and the flat part of the head rests on the tie.
Yep.
And it holds it down.
Those are the ones I was telling you about, Rick, with your
Spikes.
bridge. Yep.
Yeah, they're spikes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're used for hand laid track.
Yep. Yeah, I've still got scroodles of them. So if you ever need any, let me know, Rick. I'll send them your way because I don't use them. But you haven't had any issues across that bridge with your guardrails, have you?
Now, on the only issue that I had was on the one side where the guardrails came together. Right at the end of that bridge, it kind of starts to dip off in a decline. So the guardrails kind of popped up a little bit, and I had cars running into the guardrail. But a Dremel took care of that real quick.
Gotcha.
And of course, I'm looking for something else too. You just gotta love it when you're trying to find things that you can't find.
I do. I hide stuff from myself all the time. It's you know, I put something down, walk away, come back, and went, wait a minute, I just had it a minute ago.
Yeah, where you going?
Sucks getting old.
I'm telling you. What I'm trying to find is my file because I need to file the ends of the rail. It had kind of like an angle to it.
Yep, I do the same.
And I need to file it straight, and so that's what I'm looking for is my file, and I'm not seeing it. It's probably under something.
I actually leave mine angled.
The ends of the rail?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I'm gonna get this up to camera so you can see it. Come on.
Oh, not that way. So when I do mine, if the rail is straight like this,
Yeah.
I put where it goes to meet another piece of track, I make sure that each side of the track angles like that. So this way, when I slide them together, the two tops will meet.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of times when you use the cutters to cut the track, and even if you do your best to try and file it straight, there always seems to be a slight gap or something like that when the rails meet. So I always put an angle on it going backwards so that the two tops meet and there's open space at the bottom.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you on that. And that's why I do the same thing, but it's like this one is angled sideways.
Yeah, that you got to file.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to find right now, and it's just not popping out at me.
Jeez, wicked. 2 heart attacks, 2 strokes, some stuff. Man, take it easy, buddy. I can understand why you got a snowblower.
Oh, let's see here. Of course, that was the only thing I totally forgot that I was going to need for this live stream as my file. Love
It
it.
might be in the cabinet. File cabinet. No.
I bet you.
It might be over. It was right in front of me the whole time.
I was going to say, I bet you if you call Little Freak, he'll tell you where it is.
Yeah.
It is right there. Now he is bad. He is bad about taking my my syringe for my CMX cleaning car. He likes to play with it for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh.
And it's not just any syringe, but they put a tube on it right there, so that way you can easily funnel it in the car without making a mess.
Hey, Shane.
What's up, Shane?
Hey, Jason, I got a question for you since I missed part of this. Yeah, I see that you've got the cork going into sheet cork. What's the sheet cork area there at the top of your screen?
All right, so when I have a lot of tracks, I get lazy.
That's not.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So, and this turnout here is the one that I just added.
Okay.
Originally, it was just a track going straight in, and that was just part of the balloon loop. And then I didn't really have a vision for an industry over here. And then once I got the photo backdrop up and I put the barn there, and I'm like, man, this looks so good.
And that's how it happens.
And so I was like, you know what? I might as well just make an industry right here, and then the yard switcher could service it.
There you go.
You know, or I can make the local service it too. I mean, either or. Nobody's going to service it, you know. Another tool that's nice to have is one of these. I don't know if y'all have ever seen these. You can get these from Micromark, but when you're using Flex Track, it's designed for your straight sections. You put it on there and you can slide it across, and it will make sure your rail is straight.
That's nice.
As you're nailing and going. And then I've got another tool, and I don't know where it's at. I misplaced it. It's very similar. It does the same thing, but you bridge it across two outer rails on two tracks, and to make sure you have the perfect track spacing. One side of it's for HO, and then you can flip it over, and the other side's for N. But I 3D printed these, and the way these work is one will sit on the rail, then you can set the other one up on it, and it gets you the perfect spacing on your double mains and stuff.
Gotcha.
Cool.
But with this being an industry track, I'm not really concerned if I've got perfect spacing or not, as long as it's not too close. If it's wider, I'm okay with it.
So what's the reason behind using the Code 83 on the siding?
So the ties look like they're older. It looks like once you get the ballast and stuff in there, it looks like it's not as maintained as your main line.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I know typically 83 is actually more prototypical than 100 is for the States.
Yeah.
I didn't know if y'all knew that or not.
Yeah, I remember one of the old model railroader videos years ago. Laurel Joyner was talking about the fact that, in HO scale, Code 100, Code 83 being the most popular. And then you had Code 70 and Code 55. And Code 70 and 55, you mainly are for your yards and industry spurs. I've never seen Code 55 or Code 70, to be honest, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, me neither.
I haven't seen it in HO. I've only seen it in. I had the Code 70 on the bridge that I got from JD. But again, so the rail is the same, but the actual track that JD sent me was ON30 track, so it was only like yay big.
Right.
I just pulled the rails out of it, but that's the only Code 70 that I've ever seen.
Walters makes what's called bridge track.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you get Code 83, then it comes with Code 70 on the guide rails.
Yep.
And then I don't know if they make it in Code 100 or not. Walters is very code 83 friendly, but not really code 100 friendly.
Yeah.
Because, like, for example, my turntable is code 83 track. The roundhouse and the machine shop are also code 83 track. Because you have to cut the ties off and glue the rail down into the base plate. I used to have the passenger car wash kit a long time ago, and it's also code 83. I don't think Walters makes anything that's 100 friendly. I could be wrong, but it's mostly 83.
Right? Didn't you say when you were looking at your bridge that you looked at that stuff and it was expensive?
Microengineering makes a set of the bridge track as well, and I think Central Valley even has for their own bridges, obviously, has bridge track, and it's not cheap. It looks great. Don't get me wrong, but it's not cheap. You know, I mean, if I had to do it again to make that bridge look a little bit more prototypical, I'd probably go ahead and get the bridge track. But that just, I mean, since we had done that, you know, we had talked about it, and I didn't think about getting bridge track. You know, if I would have done that ahead of time, then that would have been the way to go. But by the time I sat there and thought about it, we had already started the bridge build, and there was no way I was waiting for it to show up in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I think eventually what I'm going to end up doing is buying another one of those kits and either modifying the one that's there or just move that one to the inside and then build the other, take my time and build, now that I've got the first one under my belt, build another one and do it differently and have that one sit on the front side so you don't see the issues with the one that I built on the backside.
Right, because now you know what to expect.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, I didn't have beginner's luck on my side like somebody else did.
Now, did y'all see the bridge build that Steve Arnold did? His was that Walters in-scale truss bridge.
No, I didn't see that.
So I've got the exact same bridge, double track in HO. And I've had that kit for a while. And after watching y'all's, now I'm like, man, that Central Valley looks so much better.
Mm.
Yeah. Shane was, no one wants to see my backside. Well, you know. Thanks, Shane.
Your backside's got too many cracks.
Oh, the tree went there. Oh. Yeah, but you're right. Yeah. So that Central Valley, I mean, even with the mistakes that I made along the way, at the end of it all, at the end of that month, I am very pleased with how that bridge turned out. I mean, that is an awesome kit. There's no question. I mean, it was a pain in the butt, you know, but now that I know what I'm up against, if I were to do it again, I definitely would take a little bit more time with it. And, you know, like Rick said, now that I've got one under my belt, the next one wouldn't be anywhere near as difficult.
I think I cursed the entire way. The entire way. Every little piece, it was like the kit is awesome, and once you figure it out and you start to put things together, you get an idea of what the next steps are. But next steps are not always in the instructions, and that was the part that I found that was the most difficult. And you wound up listening to a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, and then like we said, Jason, when me, JD, and Rick did that is a Craftsman kit, and they left portions of that open to interpretation because they want it to be your bridge. You know, there's enough instructions there to get you going, but you have to be thinking about what you're doing. I mean, it's not something that you just, you know, shake the box and there it is, or in this case, shake the bag and there it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be thinking about what you're doing. which was one of the issues that I had. I kept getting interrupted, and I'd come back to it and go, okay, now where the heck was I? And then I forget what I was working on.
And there are parts of the bridge that when explained in the documentation, they're assuming that you already know some skills.
Mm-hmm.
So for a novice like me, I'm looking at it and I'm going, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be using right here. I don't know how to get A to B. And eventually I figured it out, and with the help of JD and Ray, I was able to get it together. But they're already assuming that you know a little bit about what you're doing in order to get it done.
Well, I'm nowhere near that point of the layout where I plan on putting my river. But I'm pretty sure that once I get to that point, I'm really going to be considering getting one of those bridges just like yours, Rick.
Hey, the Dodge is in the house.
Hey, Jason, go back to, I can't remember the website off the top of my head, but if you go back to one of the videos that I did, the link is in there to the one that I bought. It was the cheapest that I found it, because if you go directly to Central Valley, theirs is a little more expensive.
The cheapest I found it was actually on Iron Planet Hobbies website. Of course, they were sold out.
Right.
But then I'm also thinking, I could use Heath's discount code too. Get that
Oh,
extra.
yeah. There you go. Yeah, I think when I got mine, I think it was like, I want to say it was like $89 when I got mine. And I think Central Valley has theirs listed for like $125.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Not bad.
Yes, as Uncle Wimmer would say. All right. I've got a track bumper here somewhere. Now, that's the only other thing about Code 83 is I'm not a big fan of their track bumpers. Have y'all used those in the past at all?
I've got two different versions. I don't like the Atlas ones, but then I think I have some from. I'm not even sure where I got it from, but it's like this 2-part thing where you have to put it together and glue it in place. I haven't even tried them yet.
Matthew Whitmore in the house. Hey, Jason, Matthew Whitmore is in the house, and he's got a question for us, it looks like.
Well, someone always told me, ask me no questions, I tell you no lies.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead and ask your question. What you got, Matthew? Let's see. My favorite train model. Like my locomotive? Man, I would have to say EMD's. It's between EMD's F units and E units and Alco's F and P units. That would be my favorites. Something about those early diesels, how they were just sleek looking. I know the railroad crews didn't really like them because of having to climb that ladder and then try to, get into a door while standing on a ladder wasn't really the, I guess a fun thing. But to me, those look the best. And
CP368 said tracks generally don't have bumpers, so probably won't have any.
But these are the ones I've got.
Yeah, those are the ones I don't like.
Yeah.
Because they don't fit exactly. You've got to file down some of the ends to get it to slide into Code 83.
Oh, it definitely doesn't fit with PicoTrack. That's for sure.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find. Hang on. I have no idea where I put these things.
Getting back to Matthew, and I think everybody kind of knows by now where I'm at with the favorite locomotive, and that's the GG1s.
Yeah. Now, those are slick. but the railroads I ran never ran those.
Right. Yeah, they were strictly Pennsylvania. I mean, it was, but that was just one of those things. It's just such an odd looking locomotive to me, and it was just it's an iconic piece. But I still agree with you though, Jason. The early diesels, the F units, the E units, the BLs. I mean, those were just some sleek looking. Well, not so much the BLs, but the E's and the F's were just some sleek looking locomotives. And
Oh yeah.
They were out. There were a lot of them out there.
So I was doing some research the other day, and when the Cotton Belt, which is the railroad that I mostly follow, when they got their first 5 sets of their FT units, which is your first generation F units, they got them in an ABBA consist. So it was a total of 20 locomotives. They did not have couplers between the 4 units themselves. They were connected with drawbars. And I thought that was very interesting. And that's how they were able to get away with having 4 locomotives listed as like number 900 A, B, C, and D. Eventually, they did take the drawbars off, replaced them with couplers, and renumbered them all.
Here you go, Jason. Here's the other ones that I got. They're from Pico Streamline.
Yes, I have seen those.
Yeah, and then it's like a 2-part thing. You got to put it together. It looks like that.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah, those look pretty good.
Now, Jason was just talking about the FTs, and this one here happens to be from the Seaboard. And as you can see, the top of it is a lot different than what the later F3, F7s were. But that's what an FTA is. And one of the things that I just figured out, I don't know, I guess it was a year or two ago, that there was actually 2 different styles of F7 units. And I'm not talking about the ABs where you had just a B unit where there was no cab. There was actually a difference in the locomotives themselves. And I think this one here might be an F9, but regardless, this F unit, if you notice back here, there's a hatch. Let me get my finger over here. There's a hatch. This is just a blank. This would be strictly for freight. This one here, which happens to be for the Southern, has got, this is actually a passenger unit. It's actually got a steam generator. That's what that back hatch is back here. That's for steam generation for your passenger trains. Yep. So this is actually an FP7. Yeah, there you go. So you got an FP7 on the bottom and an F7 on the top.
And of course, someone trying to call me too.
Yeah. One of my other favorite locomotives of these guys.
So right, I've got an FT right in front of me. This is a Stewart, custom painted.
Right.
That's what the top would look like. This was the only paint scheme that Cotton Belt had that SP did not have. And they were only on their FT. They were only on their FT units. And when the Cotton Belt ordered these, they ordered a total of 20 in 5 sets of ABBA. And the locomotives that were connected together were not connected with couplers. They were connected with drawbars.
Yeah, your FT looks looks real similar to my FT. This one here is a Bachmann. I'm trying to remember if this was. I think this was just their normal line, but this thing gives me all sorts of issues. Though the front it's an 8-wheel drive system, but the front truck, the jack shaft keeps coming loose.
This one is a Stewart Hobbies.
Yep.
And I've got the B unit with the same paint scheme, and then I also have an A and a B in the Black Widow.
But I had up the other one, which is the Sea Liner. I love these things. I've got a couple of different ones. I've got this one. I've got one painted up for the New Haven. But these here are unique too. Just the front end was just a lot different than anything else.
Yeah, there's my B.
Right.
And what I like about the Stewart ones is over here on the side, you've got the numbers here. There's actually a light board behind that. So as it's on the track, the 900 you actually lights up and you can see it. It's really cool. This one's only got DC on it. It doesn't have DCC. So I can't run it on the layout, but I do plan on adding sound to those one of these days.
Well, the funny thing of it is with my Seaboard FTA, it was DC or DCC. It's now DC.
Yeah. And then of course, its bigger brother is the E units, which I have one right there. It's also DC. But Alco's version, the PAs, those are my other favorites.
Yeah, the PAs were just those were a beast.
Yeah. Yes, by far. That's my SP one. I don't see my cotton belt one. I think it's put up. It might be over in staging because I ran a passenger train not too long ago for Nancy.
Yeah, I knew that, Dwayne, that the Fs and the Sea Liners weren't compatible. So you wouldn't see them together, and the railroads didn't like the Sea Liners as much.
Shane's Train says drawbars were pretty common on F unit sets. Cowcast, slugmate.
They were at first until the I think it was the IC Interstate Commerce Commission. The ICC was the one that kind of did away with that, or made all the railroads do away with it. From my understanding, I could be wrong. I am a lot of the times, but
one of my other oddities, the RF-16, the Baldwin Shark Nose.
Those are cool.
Yeah, the front end of that thing is just—it's just wicked looking. I mean, it's. This would be up Rick's alley because instead of it being rounded, it's actually squared off.
Yeah, I see that. I see that.
See, I don't know if Cotton Belt or SP had any Baldwin diesel electric locomotives. That I don't know. I know the SP had some what they called a Cross Maffei. It was a German locomotive.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to. I had been looking for one of those for a while too. I'd love to have. And I mean, I know the railroads that I follow didn't use them, but that is such an odd looking locomotive. Again, fitting in with the oddball that I am.
Yeah.
It's just another one of those oddities out there, and it's just a unique looking locomotive. I mean, those were what they were They were diesel hydraulic.
I think so.
Yeah, they weren't diesel electric; they were diesel hydraulic. So the diesel engine actually created almost like a bulldozer or a backhoe. Actually turned the pumps to go ahead and create hydraulic pressure, and that's what actually turned the wheels. The problem with those is I don't think that system really worked all that well, and that's the reason why there weren't that many of them over here.
The only railroads I know that used them was SP and Rio Grande.
Yep.
Those are the only two that I know that used them. S&T, Harrison, he had one sent to him not too long ago, and he was like, man, I've never seen anything like this. And I'm like, dude, you're holding one of the most cool models out there that has a crazy story from what I was told. Because they're a German, they're German. They're not American built.
No, they weren't.
And I think it had something to do with SP and Rio Grande when they ordered them. It was something to do that they could get them cheaper. than what EMD was producing locomotives at the time.
It's like the Morrison, the Knudsen. Let's see. I'm looking. I actually years ago picked up a very unique book, a field guide to trains. Now, obviously, this thing is way outdated for the day. I forgot when this was actually published. But I know that they talked about the Krause in here as well. I'm just looking to see if I can find the page. All right, where the heck is it?
Randall said anything past the F2, or I'm sorry, past the FT is interchangeable, but the FT cannot be interchanged with any other F unit.
That is correct because of the gearing. But the FT was your first gen F unit, and it stood for 1400 horsepower. And in retrospective, the E unit stood for 1800 horsepower. But actually, they used the same body and the same chassis. They changed out the prime mover and the gearing on it over time. And so, like your F7s, F8s, F9s, none of those are 1400 horsepower. I think they're like 1600. But they just kept them as F units because it was very, standard and knowledgeable at the time.
Jason, when you say prime mover, what does that...
So the prime mover is the actual diesel motor that's inside the locomotive.
So why don't they just call it a motor?
Because the diesel motor is connected to an electrical generator that generates an electrical current. Each of the trucks or axles on each truck, so if you got like let's just take this F unit here, for example. Oh, there we go. You would have an actual motor on each axle called a traction motor. So that's why they couldn't say a motor. That's when they called it a prime mover. So you have one diesel engine inside. Some locomotives had two that would churn power to an electric generator. The electric generator would feed that power to each individual traction motor that was on each individual truck.
That makes sense. Thank you for explaining that. I had no idea that there were motors down there.
And I'm thinking it was either these E units or it could have been Alco PAs. Even though this is a 6-axle locomotive, it would only have 4 traction motors. The middle axle on each truck didn't have a traction motor. But I can't remember if it was these Alco PAs or if it was EMD's E units that were that way. So if somebody out there knows the answer to that, feel free to put it in the chat.
Steve 87 said it's the railroad. They needed something different, Rick.
Yeah.
And when you figure this book doesn't talk about the Krause, but they do have a GEE 44. I found this book to be rather interesting because there's some stuff in here that I wouldn't have even known. They talk about when they were built. There's certain railroads did certain modifications to some of the locomotives. Like the EMD SD50F was actually had a modification to it that they called the Draper taper right behind the cab that bent in. For whatever reason, I don't know what the point was behind that, but they actually modified the locomotive. Of course, then again, a lot of the railroads did that. I mean, the Union Pacific was notorious for doing stuff like that when they built the DD40X.
Well, it wasn't UP that built. You had the DD35 that was UP, SP, and Rio. I think Rio Grande was the third one that had the DD35. UP added onto that and made the DD40, or had EMD make it. Speaking of, I actually went to North Little Rock yesterday and took a little quick video shot of the DD40AX in front of the Jinx shop in North Little Rock. And I plan on putting that on my next layout update, which will probably not be tomorrow since I'm hosting Sidetrack Sunday, but probably in a week. So next Sunday. I'll have that little video clip on there with all the snow on it too. Now, UP was the only railroad that had the DD40. But, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the DD35 was a cabless unit. I think they were just boosters. I don't think they ever made a cabbed unit for the DD35.
Steve 87 said in the mining industry, the diesel is the motor and the wheel units are called motor units.
Yeah, I could see that, Shane, where the third axle was actually in there for weight handling, because especially with the PAs, with the length of those things, I could see where that would be where that would be needed. And thought I saw. Yeah, E units only had 4-axle traction. Same thing. Yeah, that center wheel was probably there more or less for weight distribution.
Right. So yeah. ES44C4s are okay. So, and the ES44C4, Randall, that's a fairly modern locomotive, right? That's not the Tier 4 G-Bows, is it? I don't know my GE locomotives that well. I am more of a buff on EMD than GEs and Alcos.
Yeah, I just know what I've got. I'm just going, with the locomotives that I have, just trying to make sure that I'm using them correctly. And that's where this book is definitely come in handy, and of course the YouTube community as well. I know Grandpa Rails and I are still have to catch up on one thing. I've got a bunch of different U-boats, the U-30, what are they, U-33s or U-28s?
U-30s, U-28s, U-33s.
Right, and the thing of it is I know on my engine car, my locomotive cars, I don't think I've got them listed correctly, because this book really doesn't show the differences between. It's awfully hard to tell on the model which one you actually have.
Yeah.
It's a U-boat. I don't know which one, but it's a U-boat.
Well, SP had a U-50. Have you ever seen one of those? Have you ever seen a U-50?
This book doesn't go up to the U-50. This one here goes as high as a U-36B.
So so like UP's DD40 AX, for example, the trucks have 4 axles on each truck. Okay? The U50 had 2 axle trucks, but they had 2 of those in the front and another set of 2 in the back. So it was another 8 axle locomotive, but instead of 2 trucks, it had 4 trucks.
Mm.
And a buddy of mine was an engineer for Cotton Belt and SP, and he said he hated riding in the cab of those, because if you didn't pay attention to your turnouts, from when you were approaching it, you didn't realize you were taking the diverging track till after the front truck was already taking it.
Oh.
The front truck was articulated. The second truck. So he said with the first truck hitting that turnout, you think you're still going straight until that second truck hits it, and the second truck's behind you.
Oh.
I know it was either Athearn or Atlas made a model of that not too long ago, but they didn't make a lot of them.
That's interesting, Steve. Steve said something here that's interesting too, Jason and Rick, that I didn't know about. He says, I can't remember, I was on some YouTube channel. I think it was one of the new Jeepos. The center wheel actually retracts until traction is gained, and then it drops to take up the load.
Interesting.
Huh.
Now, I know years ago, and I'm sure that Roy could probably chime in on this one too. There's dump trucks out there that have 3 axles.
Yep.
And if they're not loaded, that first axle will retract, and only the back 2 will drive. And if they've got too much of a load, they'll actually drop that third axle. Well, one of the things years ago was one of the things that my father came up with. The state troopers were concerned that these guys weren't using that third axle the way that they were supposed to for weight distribution. So they needed a way to figure out if the scales wouldn't tell them, if they were under or over. So what they ended up doing is they ended up finding a way that they could see by pressure, tire pressure, if they needed to have that third axle dropped or not.
Interesting.
Not just that, but some of those dump trucks that have 3 or 4 axles on the back end, if they don't have the rear steering capability, they have to lift them up to turn. Otherwise, they'll blow the tires. And I've even seen cement trucks around here. They'll have an axle on the back end of it that will fold up when it's empty, and then they'll drop it down. And it's just for, I guess, weight distribution.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that too for when they're moving heavy equipment, to where when they're just driving with no load, that third axle is actually almost up on top of the bed, and then if they actually have a load, it's back for distribution.
Right.
Yeah, bridge weight laws, exactly, Roy. That's what they were concerned about.
So Bernard is saying the U50 was after the turbines were retired, he believes. Now, did Union Pacific use U50s? I don't know. Well, I got the balloon loop back in operation, so that's good. I have to go turn the system on and put a locomotive on it and see if it goes all the way around now.
Now, why would you want to do that?
I better grab one that's got a current keeper because it's been a while since I cleaned the track.
Waiting for his darn sheep and cows to start going off here.
No, the sheep is right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're right here. And that track, the track it's sitting on, is not wired up yet, so it can't go off yet. The cattle is over in staging.
I got a question for you. I can't remember whose channel it was, but this morning I was watching somebody's rail fan video, and CSX was running their 3 units. Oh God, now I can't remember them. One is wait a second. Let me look this up before I start talking.
All right. It probably helps that I muted the locomotive too.
Jerry was here. He could tell me. He just caught them the other day. I think they're called Pride units.
Yes.
You know which ones I'm talking about?
Yeah, because one of them is like Pride of First Responders. One's the
yeah. One's red, one's black and blue, and the other one is like a military unit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Camouflage. Okay, so you know which train I'm talking about. So there have been a couple of people who have filmed it in the last couple of days. Jerry was one of them. K-Flan caught it coming out of King of Prussia. And then somebody else I saw filmed it recently. The orientation changed. The units moved around, and what was weird was the leading unit was the military one, and it was in reverse. Why would you run a locomotive, at least the lead locomotive, reverse? The two behind it were facing forward.
Okay, it could be, and I don't know this for exact. It could be that they were running to another location that might have had a Y. So that way they could cut the 3 locomotives, run the locomotives through the Y, which would turn the whole thing around. I have seen that happen with Union Pacific. They had 3 locomotives. The third unit was the UP 1982, which is the MOP unit, or the MOPAC. And it was the third unit on that train, and it was pointing to the rear of the train. And they ran it all the way out of North Little Rock, out of the yard, all the way up to Bald Knob, which is like an hour 15 minute of rail time. Because there's a Y up there, they cut the 3 locomotives from the train. They ran all 3 locomotives around the Y, and they connected it back so the MOP unit would be the point.
Interesting.
Yeah, I knew back in the day when the diesels, like the S units and some of the GPs, early GPs. I think it was the Erie and the Southern would run them long nose forward. That was their typical way of running them. That was the way that they were designed. They actually had them set up to run long nose forward. These days, it's cab forward. Somebody was saying that they think one of those 3 locomotives may have had a mechanical problem, and that's the reason why the locomotives were out of order.
No, because the 2 times that I saw when Ray caught it, and then when Capeland caught it, it was the red one was leading first, cab forward. Behind that was the blue and the black one, cab forward, and then like midway down the train was the military one, and then all of a sudden, when I caught the one this morning, the military one was up front, and it was cab backwards, or whatever you want to call it.
Long hood forward. And Shane's right. That a lot of the railroads did that for safety. They ran them long nose forward because then you had a lot more area if something happened between where the conductor and the engineer sat versus where they were in relation to the rest of the locomotive. Apparently, the B&O ran them that way too. I didn't know that. Thanks, Joe.
Not just that, but those engineers were used to steam locomotives riding in the back.
Right.
That was the other thing.
Right.
I do got a pop quiz for you. Let me grab a locomotive set where I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. So these are for you that like to run operations. Here I got a GP35 in front of me. Okay, can y'all see the F right here that I'm pointing at? Y'all know the F stands for that is the front of the locomotive. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, if y'all ain't gonna be able to see that. All right, y'all see that I had the locomotive pointing this direction, and I'm gonna add these 2 cars that I have right here to the front of it. If I can get it a couple. There we go. All right, so I've got 2 cars added to it, which you can only see one of them. Now, this is the front of the locomotive, but when you're doing horn signals, this is the front of your train.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start going reverse on the locomotive, you still use a forward horn signal. That is the front of your train, not over here. So it's kind of a pop quiz thing, but
Where's the question in that? Usually, a pop quiz.
How many times do you blow the horn? How many times do you blow the horn if you're taking this train going that direction?
Oh, I have no idea.
Twice.
Okay.
If you're pushing it, you blow 3 times. But as soon as you disconnect, you go this way. That's 2 horns. That way's 3. A lot of people
That's
don't know.
confusing.
Yeah. And that's because the engine by itself, this is the front, this is the back. But as that's connected, this is the front of your train. Over here's the rear end of your train. So you're running what's called long hood forward. Make sense?
Nope. Got to pick the word for it.
Container man, yes, I'm actually making some type of accomplishments on the layout. I've got another track laid. I just got to get it connected to the turnout. And I got to find a piece of 83, a scrap piece that I've got that's long enough.
Hey, Jason, just by the way, that conservative train guy just popped in here as well, and I think somebody else did. I don't think I caught who it was, though.
Well, welcome. I'm doing good, and you? So I saw where Bernard C. posted a question earlier if I'm using both 83 and 100. The answer to that question is yes. I use 100 for my main lines, and I use 83 for all of my sidings and stuff. And let me get the daggone sheep off the track. They get on my nerves after a while.
So now, do you use any kind of like transition rail joiner between the two coated tracks?
If it's for slow traffic, I don't. But if it's like on the main line, like I've got a curved turnout that's going to be on the main line, I do file down my code 100.
Okay.
And that's tight. And that's only because I could get, the turnout I'm using, it's a Shinohara. It's a number 8 curved switch. So Atlas doesn't make those. And so Claude from Cowboy and Timberline, he actually sent those to me and gave them to me. But they're in 83 and not 100, so that's why I'm having to file it down.
Now, how far back? How far back are you filing? Because that's a good height difference.
It's not too terrible, actually. I mean, you're only talking about, I don't know if y'all can see. I'm going to see if I can get that under camera. I don't know if y'all can tell.
Yeah, it's real slight. One of the issues,
it's not a big difference.
Yeah.
So if you're going slow, like say scale mile per hour 15, it's not going to cause your trains to derail.
Okay.
And you do get the clickety clack from it. Yes, Roy, we know 100 is out of scale for prototypical track.
One of the issues that I ran into, and somebody had mentioned in one of I guess it was in the last vlog that I did, that they love the different crossovers that I have on the layout. Well, they're great. I do like them. The issue that I've got, though, is over in the passenger terminal, those crossovers, which look very good compared to the ones that I had, they actually look prototypical because the diamond in the middle is actually open. Those are code 100, and all the track around it is code 83. And one of the things that Jason just brought up about following the track down to get it to where it's kind of a little bit more of a smooth transition is one of the things that I have to go back and do, because you do hear and you can watch the cars actually bounce when they go from the 83 to the 100 and then back to the 83.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not to where it's going to derail it, but there was you can definitely see the cars rock as they go across it.
Now they do make rail joiners. Atlas makes rail joiners that are called transition joiners.
Yep, and you can actually flatten the code 83 rail joiner to get it to join up with a code 100. The thing that you have to do though is you have to solder the rails, and I'm just not really a fan of going ahead and soldering a crossover or a switch. Crossovers
No.
you might be able to get away with. A switch, knowing that with the mechanicals, with the switch, they're going to wear out. They're going to go bad at some point. And I just, no. I leave my switches float.
Same.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of soldering turnouts or crossovers or anything like that either.
You know, straight track, curved track, yeah, I'll solder that all day long. Those crossovers and the switches, no.
But you're also talking about the difference of soldering 2 rails and how many other rails when you do something else?
Yeah.
I mean, a crossover, that's what, 8 rails?
8 rails.
Or 8 connections?
Yeah.
Turnout is 6 unless it's a 3-way.
Yep.
Then you got 8. Or I've got that Shinohara double crossover, and I bought it used, and the person, it was soldered. And when they even cut the connecting rails to it, so I couldn't connect it with rail joiners, I had to try to get as much solder off that thing as possible in the old other pieces of rail that was attached.
Wow.
But, I mean, I got it for a steal. You know, those things were selling for $100 each, you know, for American, and this was a Canadian bid. And by the time it was said and done, I only paid between $60 and $70 after shipping.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Hey,
I
guys,
had to do some repairs.
I got to step away for just a minute. I'll be back.
I guess he had to go check on the rest of the tree family.
Yep.
You had to wait until I drank something, didn't you, Jason?
You know me well.
Jesus. Oh. So yeah, like I said, I ran into some interesting little idiosyncrasies with the container man. He had to go drain the sap.
Hey, we got Robert Flying Crow here. How's it going?
Hey, what's going on, Robert?
How was the winter weather down in your area? Because I know y'all got hammered too. I think they had it worse than we did.
He's looking after the sprouts.
Jeez.
See, that's what makes these live streams so much fun. It's the chat.
Exactly. And then you get us 3 goofy people up there with the chat, and it's just like double.
That's no way to talk about John.
Well, you know, John's like the albino black sheep of the family.
Something like that.
And I guarantee you, he's over there shaking his head, yes and no. I guarantee you.
Take it easy, Steve. Hey, anytime, John. Anytime.
Take care, Steve.
Jeez, Robert, over a foot. Oh, man. Oh. Oh, geez. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, the next video update, I tried doing an update the other night, and the camera, for whatever reason, wasn't recording the way it was supposed to. Or what it wasn't. I didn't notice it wasn't recording, and I thought it was. So half the stuff that I was doing, it didn't catch any of it. So I got to go back and redo it. But I ran into a couple of idiosyncrasies with the passenger terminal. The whole idea of the shims didn't work out that well.
And so, like, so many people, you know, with the hump in my yard, which my yard's not a hump yard. I wish I had the space for a hump yard. That'd be awesome.
That would be different.
But you know, some people were mentioning, well, put shims, put shims. What I originally did was I took wood filler and a big, you know, one of the wide putty knives that are like, it's like that wide. And I tried to fill in and kind of make it like a smooth ramp, hoping that would fix it, and it didn't. So that's why I'm having to tear it out. I don't think shims would help it either.
What was the issue over there, Jason, with that? Was it the plywood wasn't the same height? Is that what that issue was?
The plywood's not the same height, and I have a small warp in it.
Well, mine's warped, but that's beside the But anyway, yeah, that's I had the same issue. I have a very similar issue, and it doesn't show up on this layout because of the fact that when I went ahead and built it, I actually planned for it, and that's the fact that the original piece of plywood from the original layout that was built in 1950, that piece of plywood is actually thinner than all the modern stuff. So what I did is I actually raised up the 2x4s a little bit to make up that difference so that the plywood would be perfectly flat.
Okay.
So that's how I got around that little issue. So if you actually ever look up underneath, you'll actually see that there's a bit of a difference in the way that the 2x4s sit, and that's to take up that gap.
Gotcha.
But it was one of the things that freaked me out with my old layout. It was like, man, why am I having such an issue over here? And I'm looking at it going, well, dang, the daggone plywood's a different thickness. It was supposed to be 3/8, but if you measured it, it ain't 3/8.
Well, and that was an issue I had because it's actually happening on both sides of the yard, or both sides of that cut sheet.
Right.
I was supposed to get, it's 1/2 inch, but they don't say it's half. It's what?
It's an oddball number, but 15, I know what you're talking about.
15-30 seconds is what they call it. 15-30 seconds. And the next one I got, or the sheet that was mixed into it, was one that was 1/8 of an inch thicker. And so it had like an extra ply on it, and I didn't realize it at the time because when I went to Home Depot, I told them, I said, hey, I need y'all to get me 6 sheets of plywood at this thickness. Well, I guess they didn't pay attention to it either, and some other customer took another sheet of plywood from one size and slid it down because they didn't like that sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened to me, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to go ahead and try to use it anyways. And this was all in before I created my channel. So.
Yeah, that's going to be a mess to tear apart considering the fact that your yard sits over there.
With that and all the turnouts and. Yeah, the caboose track sits on it, the locomotive service track, engine facilities, I mean, all of it. So that's why I'm not focusing on it right now. I'm more or less focusing on level 2 in the industrial complex because I can at least run small switching operations.
Right.
So that way, if I'm not in the mood to work on the layout, I can at least be in the mood to play with trains.
Exactly. That's kind of what my MO's been with mine. You know, I got it to the point where it runs great. Now I can go back and I can start screwing around with some of the other stuff. And if I don't want to do that, then I can just go back and run trains. You know, it is what it is.
Right. But no, that's going to be a big project, and probably what I'll end up doing is when I rip it all out, which I'm actually going to save the track. I'm going to, wrap like Scotch tape around it and label it so that way I know what track goes where. So that way I can put it all back together. When all the track is out, one of the things that I did not know that I wish I did know is when building a multi-level layout, start with the top level first. Because it is a pain in the butt to get up under there and mount things such as tortoise switches.
Been there, done that.
I didn't think about that. You would have thought doing the lower level first would have been, but yeah, you're right. That makes sense. You want to do the top work from the top down, not the bottom up.
Right. The only time that you work from the bottom up is on the helix.
Right.
So
when you have trains in your life, you have a one-track mind. Yeah, well, pretty much. Unfortunately, my train derailed a long time ago.
we actually used to have a hobby shop in Southwest Little Rock called One Track Mind. And that was my favorite hobby shop out of all of the ones in this area. And I guess it's because he carried more HO than anybody else. Let's see, how does that look?
Looks like a curved piece of track.
Yeah, look, I mean, from where I'm sitting at and from where the camera's angled, this is actually giving me like another view to pay attention to. I'm kind of digging this.
Yeah, the only problem is you have to have money to be able to pay attention.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm too cheap for that.
Yeah.
A lot of people just pay me no mind.
Yeah.
Leave it to Rick.
Wouldn't you know it?
Yep, I'm a lucky sap.
Well, I still haven't seen Heath, man. He's really slacking today.
He's doing something.
He's missing all the fun.
I'm telling you.
Oh, is that what we're doing here?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that runs pretty smooth, in my opinion.
it looks good too.
Only your opinion matters.
Well, I know it matters, but I'm still going to hear it from all the other rivet counters out there.
I still don't understand how you got those two isolating tracks, rails in there. I spend 15 minutes just trying to do that. You slid them in like it was, butter.
I'm just good like that.
Yeah. That's right. The other night, after I got finished playing with the passenger terminal, I started running trains through there, and I could not figure out why the passenger cars were jumping. Yeah, that's because of the fact that I didn't have one of the rails on the rail joiner. Thought I did. No, I didn't. They don't work too well when the rail ain't in the joiner. That darn southern crescent set, man. That thing. If there's an issue with the track, it's going to find it. I don't know. I don't understand that one there is. Like I said, that set of cars is just so squeamish. If there's a problem, it's going to find it, which is a good thing. I'm glad, but it was like, why are? Oh man,
that's like your maintenance away car. It knows where the problems are.
Yeah, well, right. and it'll take it up 2 foot of flex track to go ahead and get the rail joint. It's a good thing nothing's glued down.
So I guess the next thing I have to do on this is right here is where I'm going to put in my feeders.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jason, Rick just brought something to my attention. You put isolating rail joiners on that siding. Was there a reason as to why you did that?
Yes. So this is part of the balloon loop.
Right.
So you can't see the other. Right up here is another pair of oscillators.
Okay.
So this curved turnout all the way to here that goes around, it's a balloon loop. That is isolated and it's connected to my Digitrax AR1, I think. Yeah, AR1.
Okay, that's the auto reversing unit. Okay.
Auto reversing unit. But I've also got it wired through a BD10 or BD20, Rick?
BD20.
BD20, okay. for block detection, which is connected to my AIU01.
Right.
I know that's probably confusing a lot of people because I'm just
Nope.
spitting.
I'm right with you. I'm right with you.
I know you are.
I'm a deer in headlights, but that's beside the point. Keep going.
So what it's going to allow me to do is I can put this signal in here, and that's going to let me know that I've got the straightaway cleared. I've got yard. This is the turnout to go into the yard. Okay.
Okay.
I can do the same thing with another turnout here, but I'll probably just put in a dwarf signal, just a single, whether it's going into the yard or not, because it's supposed to be for restricting speed. That's why they're dwarf. And then of course I'll have signals on the other end. I've actually got a double standing on the other end. I just don't have them wired in yet. If you've watched my Hot Rod Rodney challenge video that I did, I showed clips on my old layout, and the last video clip on that video actually showed the signals working with block detection.
Gotcha.
Going through JMRI. So you would actually see the green, train goes by, it turns red. I've also have on the back end of the train is a lit caboose. So the caboose is picking track power too. So once the caboose got out of that block, then it went to a yellow. Once it got to the next block, flashing yellow. Next block, it's back to green. And here the locomotive comes back around and it goes back to red.
You're one step ahead of me. I haven't gotten the signaling down yet, but the hardware before that, I'm with you.
Well, it's pretty simple. When you have a double like this, it's governing a turnout, but also blocks. Your top signal typically governs your straightaway. The bottom governs your diverging track. So, and then of course it's also looking at the next block or the next signal that it's protecting as well. And that's all in JMRI. And that's, I can definitely go into more detail on that on a later segment. But it also represents your top is your track speed. Your bottom is restricted speed. Now, if you go into like three-headed signals, it gets even more complex, and I'm not that far yet on determining the three-headeds and even what they call the lunar light. The fourth lighting aspect, which is lunar, which I know the SP used on Donner Pass or their Donner subdivision. I don't think the Cotton Belt really used it.
And I think Carolina Foothills Railroad was asking me a question about the trucks on that passenger train. Yeah, that is one of, I think, 3 sets that I've got that actually are heavyweight, to where they're triple axle trucks, which is probably the reason why they pick up issues faster than anything else. But that sort of passenger cars has always been a little ticklish as far as track work goes. If there's an issue, it's going to find it. And I do have other three axle passenger cars that don't have an issue like that, or they won't find issues like that, but that one will.
So, Ray, one of the things to help you on that is Micromark's got a set of pliers that you can use to adjust your the wheels on the axle itself.
Yep.
One of your wheels is a sliding wheel. On your middle axle, on those 3 truck axles, bring that wheel in just slightly.
Okay.
Where it's just barely out of gauge on too far on the inside.
Okay.
And that'll help it go around your curves. Because I'm having the same issue with some of my Walters cars.
Well, this was on a straight piece.
Oh, Lord. Well, hopefully your wheel ain't warped.
No, what it was is, like I said, it was a rail joint that wasn't incorrectly.
Gotcha.
That's what caused the problem. That, like I said, I mean, I've gotten that set of cars pretty much straight. But if there's any issues with the track, it'll pick them up. And I think you're right. I think it's because of that middle axle. And it's funny because I've actually got a set of Riv Rossies, older Riv Rossies, that somebody that I bought secondhand. It's the B&O set that I pulled behind the Beauville and Newtown, PA. somebody pulled that center axle out of those trucks, so they're back to only a 2-axle truck. Because I guess it was causing they were causing too much trouble, so they were like, the heck with it, I'll just get rid of the center truck. Or the center axle off that truck, which I guess that works too. No, they're not Central Valley trucks. These are the original ones. I think I'm trying to think who the manufacturer was on that crescent set. Give me a minute. I might have it in my on my inventory sheet as to who the manufacturer was. Because I needed that to know exactly what kind of couplers to be able to put on them. Because obviously I'm still running the old horn hooks. And of course, those are, I know Jason was talking about this the other day. Those couplers that are on those passenger cars are what they call long shank. And I mean, that shank on that son of a gun's got to be a good inch long. I mean, they are long couplers.
Yeah. Well, and I got some Riva Rossi's in, and I was debating on giving those away because I bought those when I was at Branson back on Christmas. It was part of my Christmas haul. And I was debating on giving those away for my next subscriber contest. And then I found some of the couplers with the really short shank. And so I'm going to try those and see how well that works. And if they work out great, then I plan on keeping them. If they don't work out great, then I plan on probably giving those away on the next contest. Because
I've been holding over 400, so I'm going to start thinking about what I'm going to do for my next contest. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Well, Ray, if you plan on giving all your horn hooks away, I don't think it will go over well.
No, I'm not there yet. No, I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
So that conservative train guy says steam or diesel. I don't know exactly what question you're asking on that, but I would prefer steam over diesel any day. Just steam costs too much. It costs way too much. And one of the steam locomotives that I really want is brass, and it was only made in brass. So,
Yeah, I should have a more up-to-date one of these. Hey.
now I do got 2 steamers, but they both need fixed. They both need repairs.
That's one of the things that I got to do. I got to do another steam engine Sunday. Pull my steam locomotives out.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And when you figure the Southern Crescent Limited cars, I do not have a manufacturer on. Everything else I do.
I've only got 2 steamers. I got them right here. They're Bachmann Spectrums, which I decal both of these on my own. One was an undecorated, and then the other one was originally a Southern Pacific. And that's one nice thing about Cotton Belt is you can always take a SP one. But
Nice.
that's a 482 light mountain, I think. Yeah, it's a Ursa Light 482 mountain locomotive. This was the SP one that I redecaled to Cotton Belts or St. Louis Southwestern. But it needs repairs. And of course, getting the parts for them is easier said than done. And the same for this one. Now I've got the truck, the front truck taken off of it, so it ain't going to look right. But this is my 280 consolidation, which also needs repairs. And that one actually has a belt drive on it. It goes like from the motor, and then it has a belt that goes to the gears. and it's weak on the belt.
Rubber band drive.
Yeah. But I feel like Bachman did a really good job with the detailing on these. I mean, if I can pull it out, there we go. I just don't have the front truck or the front wheel screwed in. They even put people on the inside. And I was thinking about drilling a hole right here on the plate and putting a red LED in. Yes, just like that. Just like that. And so this one would run until I broke the plug off.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, this here happens to be the frame to a 1950s Revell F3.
Okay.
This was one of my dad's locomotives.
Shiny.
Yeah. Yep. I think the date on this box was it is an F7, 1957, but it's an F7.
But those are the only two steamers I currently own.
I tell you, one of the things that I picked up years ago, and I've already repaired it once, and it was because of the fact that I wanted a large steam locomotive. And I know it's not sitting out here because it's in the repair bin again. I picked up a Chessie System 484, and I cannot. The gears keep cracking, and it irks the living crap out of me because it's such a unique looking locomotive in that Chessie System paint scheme. But I can't run the thing. Every time I do, the wheels come off.
Huh.
But
so Shane made the comment. He goes, "At Jason, let me guess, a GS8, GS8, which was a locomotive class that Southern Pacific used. Standing for Golden State. SP never had GS7s or GS8s ever used. They were actually cotton belt units that were leased to the SP, which were their 484 Northerns. And the GS8, there's only one prototype still around, and it used to run back in the 90s. And the last year that it ran, I actually got to ride, not in the locomotive, but I rode on the train. And I want to say that was 94 or 95. I can't remember, but I was a little kid. But GS4, which is, the famous Daylight, I would love to have one of those, 4449. What is that one, Ray?
Yeah.
I see you holding it up. Oh, is that a decapod?
That's a 210. That's a 210-2.
That is a decapod.
Yep, and with the cylindrical tender to go with it.
That's cool.
This is an old AHM unit, and I tell you what, man, this thing will pull forever in a freaking day.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, this thing is it's got such a weird it's got such an odd drive system to it too. I took it apart one day to re-oil it because it was making noise, and when I opened it up for the first, I was like, "Wow, I've never seen anything like this." It's actually got a gear that goes down through the center, and it feeds a shaft that goes out to the. It's a 4-wheel. Out of the 10 wheels, 8 of them actually are drivers. All right, 8 of them are actually geared. So it's a weird gearing system. But the weirdest part with this, and it's kind of hard to show on camera. Well, actually, you can see it. That center drive set does not have a flange. So this thing will go around an 18-inch radius curve. Of course, it's not real happy, but it'll do it.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't have 18-inch radius anymore. Everything I've got is 22. So, yeah, the Vanderbilt tender. Yeah, I tell you what, man. A buddy of mine had this, and he didn't have a layout. And I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt, but I just didn't have the money at the time. His dad was heavy in the trains, and he had, well, I've still got the Rio Grande set and one of the other sets that was his, that he gave me. They're old Tyco sets, so they're okay. But this locomotive, when I first saw it, I was like, dude. And I actually made him an offer, and he took it. So I bought it off of him. But the ones that I really wanted, there was no way I could have touched them. We took him to the Timonium Train Show about, I guess it's been about 8 years ago. When, daggone it, Howard Zane was still doing the train show in Timonium, and because he was an appraiser of brass locomotives, and he had 2 brass steamers, and they were from the late 50s, early 60s, and Howard told him, he said, you're looking at about $600 to $800 a piece. I'm like, oh. I'm like, I told him after we left the show, I said, dude, if you ever decide that you want to part with them, let me know. I said, I'd like to be the first in line. I said, I guarantee, I don't know if I'd be able to do it or not. I said, keep me in mind. And I think he, unfortunately, that he didn't get a hold of me. I think he did sell them. You know, Bernard, the last time I had this locomotive open, I don't remember exactly what it looked like. I mean, it like I said, it's a different drive system. Most of the steam locomotives I've got, the motor sits and you can actually see the gear in the center, and it's a worm gear drive that drives the drivers. This one here, it's a completely different setup. The motor, actually, you can see it. The motor is actually sitting in the cab. And it's actually shaved through the boiler down to the, you can't see it on that side, but if you look through the center, you can actually see where it goes into the drive system. So it's like I said, it's just a really weird, it's a weird setup. I've never seen anything like that. But like I said, this thing will definitely pull forever. I mean, it's just a strong pulling locomotive. But I've got 2 others that I really liked. I think they were, Bernard. Yeah, Jeff Shane. Rick's been changing himself into a billboard over there. I don't want to know what Jason was just doing. The only thing I saw was this black tube come over the.
No, I just got done drilling the 2 holes for the feeder wires, and I was shot back in the sawdust.
So, Jason, question: why do you drill the holes on the other side of the cork rather than going through the cork?
It's just easier.
Okay.
Because when I poke my wires up from the bottom,
yeah,
I'm only having to fight with plywood, and I'm not having to fight with plywood and cork.
Okay.
See, I did something a little bit different, Rick. When I did mine, if you notice, I had everything wired prior to. So when I went to lay the road bed down, I actually had to cut slits in it to where it would actually, the wiring would actually go back over next to the rail, so that way that would go through. But
gotcha.
See, this is what I'm using for my feeders.
24 gauge.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I'm running 22 for the feeders and 16 for the bus.
I'll show you the bus. It don't say what gauge it is, or it might. I don't know. I haven't really read the label, but it's that stuff.
Yeah.
And what I love is one side is silver, the other side is gold, so it's hard to wire things backwards unless you don't have a light. Then it both looks gold. Or it both looks silver.
Unless Heath's here.
Yeah, it's always his.
It could be, Bernard. It very well could be. I don't know. I don't have any Shea locomotives. That's another thing that's on the list somewhere down in the future.
Shane says, funny story. And I think he's talking about Jason here. First he got hammered, then he got drilled, and then he got sucked. What a great Saturday night.
Hey, we're starting the party early.
All right, who let the crossed anchors in here? Hey, Roy, welcome aboard.
What's up, Roy?
Another Roy.
Yep. There was all three of them in Back on Tracks live this morning.
Yeah, we got Roy 1, Roy 2, and Roy 3. We got John 1, John 2, John 206, whatever they are.
There's only 3 Jasons that I know of, and I'm the only one in the U.S. The other 2 are elsewhere. I know you got Barnabas over in the U.K. He was in here earlier.
There's only one tree.
Not according to Jason's backdrop.
Well, that's true. That's true. Looks.
Gum, I can't seem to get rid of Rick. How do I?
See, the thing of it is, Jason, him and I are like bad pennies. We just keep coming back.
Right.
So, Rick.
Yeah.
Have you ever glued the magnets to the track?
Yeah.
What glue do you use?
Okay, so here's what I did. And I don't know if I saw this somewhere or I was just being stupid. So you place the magnet inside that little holder, and because the holder is metal, it holds it. Exactly. And then what I did is I just got a hot glue gun and put a small bead down the magnet, flip it onto the track, give it a little bit of pressure, wait a couple seconds, and then you can pull the jig off.
Okay.
That's how I did it.
Yeah, I forgot about Jason.
Red Light District. Yeah, baby.
But Jason, I haven't seen Jason Jensen in any of the chats. So I know he's a YouTube channel, but is he involved in the community?
I don't know.
The other Jason I've seen, and I've seen him on mostly the UK chats, is Jason King. I don't know if y'all have seen him or not, but I've seen him on a couple of, Jennifer Kirk's and a couple on Barnabas live streams, and Ollie as well. Well, I didn't know if you would use like hot glue or like super glue.
I used hot glue.
And it worked pretty well. Did it bubble back up?
No. Once it's down there, it's down there. And the good thing is with hot glue, you can just get a screwdriver and gently, pop it back up, and it'll pop right back off if you want to move it somewhere else.
That was one of the things that I was going to say, Jason. I don't think I'd want to use a CA or a super glue on that in case you ever decide you want to move it. Yeah. I would think that the hot glue is going to have enough tack that it'll stay in place, but if you needed to move it, you'd still be able to move it.
And like I said, you don't need much, just a real thin bead down the center. And when you put that magnet down, it's going to squish, and you're going to get a hold on every one of those ties that it touches. So you'll be fine.
Joe's saying he used super glue.
So Joe, why don't you let us know, have you ever had to move one of those magnets? Now, I don't know what Whitewall is talking about.
These damn chickens, I feel like roasting them.
Oh, boy.
When it flown away. I don't know.
Sounds like he's got a foul problem.
Woo!
I got that right.
I was just winging it.
Yeah. So, Joe, have you moved any of your magnets? Because that, how like when you pop, like I don't know. I guess I'm asking like how easy we're off. They will pop off with a screwdriver. So okay, because I've got easy access to super glue. So I'm gonna go grab that real quick. I'll be right back.
Yep.
Is that a promise or a threat?
A threat.
Okay. Just checking. See, I'm an equal opportunity offender. I pick on everybody.
Works for me. Works for me.
I tell you what, though, Rick, we had Jason or we had Heath going the other night, didn't we, with the dad jokes?
Oh God. We didn't want any part of that. We went for a good while too. I was surprised.
Yeah, we did.
They just kept coming. Like they will pop off with a screwdriver.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that the chat doesn't know is the fact that of the Sidetrack Sunday crew, we've got a Google Meet that's going on, and I'll be sitting down here at my desk working, this desk behind me, and I'll just hear the computer over here go ding, ding,
Ding,
ding, ding, ding. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
No, it's even worse. Like when I'm not even involved on it, and I look at my phone like 5 minutes later, I'm like, holy crap, 32 messages.
And the worst part is
Heath.
when you scroll down to look at it, and then you get the next one, and it automatically flips you back up, and you're like, man, now I got to scroll back again.
That too. That too. All right, so I'm gonna try this super glue because I got easier access on it.
Not much. Now, which one are you using? The 83, the magnet for the 83 or the Code 100?
That's 83.
Okay, so it should sit right in there. Yep.
And then for my 100, I actually got.
Yeah, Shane, it is a gaggle meet.
So I've got that for the 100 tracks.
Right. Now we had this conversation a couple days ago, or we were in somebody's, I forget whose chat we were in, but we were asking about when can you use the 100 on an 83 track. A lot of people, because the Code 100 magnet is thicker, a lot of people like using that because you get a better reaction from the couplers when they pull. So people like to use the Code 100 on the 83 track, but that's the only time that you have to remove the ties. Otherwise, it doesn't sit flush with the rail.
Why does Sparky do it for both his 83 and his 100? I don't know if y'all saw that video or not.
I don't know, because if you look on, I think if you pull it's been a while since I've opened up one of those bags. There's a set of instructions in that little bag, isn't there?
Wait a minute, there's instructions? Wait a minute, we're guys, we don't read instructions.
Or is it on the back?
It's in Greek.
So what does it say?
For the magnet?
Oh, the instructions are on the reverse side. Look how small the font is.
Yeah. But that's
everybody
jig.
That's not glasses.
No, I mean right here it says on the package. It says, well, come on, focus. There we go. Ready to mount on top of ties with Code 83 rail. Cut out ties if mounting on 70, 55, or 40.
Right, and that's for the 83, right?
That is for the 83.
Now, do you have one for the 400? You have the 3.3? There should be something similar on there.
Yeah, so here's the one for Code 100.
Right. And right there, cut the ties out for mounting to 83, 70, 55, or 40. So as long as you go down, that's all you have to do.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I'm just going to use these for the main yard, the interchange. I think that's the only spots where I have actual,
Hey,
track.
Dwayne, there's nothing fine about that print. It's the reason why I've got glasses.
There we go.
That's it. All right, get rid of Joe's thing on the screen there so we can actually see the magnet. All right. That's it. Now run a car over it. All right, you're ahead of me there.
Well, this one doesn't have a Katie on it. Let me get two that's got Katie's.
All right.
I know these have Katie's. These are my tank cars. I've done all of my tank cars with the shelf couplers. So I've got those done. Now it's just more or less getting the regular for those. All right, so I should be able to go here. There we go.
How the fuck you doing? Video and do it the right way.
Yeah, there it goes. And it's separated on its own, so I know it's working. I know part of my problem is I bent the air hose on that one up a little too high. So I've got to get that one bent back down.
Oh man, now things really went downhill, Jason.
Oh, geez.
Oh, God.
Don't let him in the room. Don't let him in the room.
Well, it was a great show, guys. We're leaving.
Yeah. It's funny you should mention that because I got to go in a few minutes anyway.
Yeah, it's almost dinner time.
Yep. Is this Sidetrack Sunday? It will be if you get up here.
Yeah.
John, that means you too. I see you lurking down there. Wait a minute.
So, Rick, that hat that you're wearing, do they make that in a neck gaiter?
Say that again?
Do they make it in a neck gaiter?
I don't know what you mean.
It's like a mask that you wear around your neck and you put it over your face.
You mean the hat?
Well, yeah, you like how your hat's like got the digital signage?
Yes, I have not seen it in a neck one, but I have seen it in a mask or ear mask thing.
I wonder if they got it in the neck.
I don't see why not. I mean,
I don't know. I've got a pain in the neck, but you know.
Oh,
I got one of those back here, but I actually got two of those upstairs. But
well, Heath, if today is Sidetrack Sunday, I'm totally screwed because I haven't been at work. I haven't been at work at all week, so due to the wintry weather, so my days are all jacked up.
right. Now it's official.
Yep.
Now it's official.
Wah, wah.
All right.
I'm just going to have you on all my live streams just for that.
I'm more than happy to do free advertising.
Yeah.
So, all right, fellas, that being said, I'm going to head upstairs. The kids are calling for me, so.
Yeah, I think I'm done for the day. Like I said, the only thing I got to do now is get my feeder wires up to it and wire my feeder into the track bus. And I'll be done with that track, and then it's just going to be straight scenery from here on out.
Awesome. Did good work today, man.
I appreciate it.
All right. I will catch you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Jason, it should be a great Saturday night for you over there at the Red Light District.
So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. Just to remind y'all, we do have Sidetrack Sunday tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock Eastern. I am hosting it, and I will have Dakman, Sean, Dakman Productions on with us. We are going to talk about the types of rolling stock that you would typically pull behind certain types of locomotives.
Awesome.
So that way you're not pulling like a wood icebox reaper behind a SD70 Ace. So we're going to kind of get into that tomorrow night, for those who are into operations and for those who want to learn more about running era-specific type trains. So tune in 8 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. For y'all in the chat, if y'all want to, go ahead and promote your channels. If y'all got anything going on, contests or anything, let people know. Videos, upcoming videos. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, but
You got Heath. It's my railroad. I will pull what I want. Well, that's fine, Heath. You can do that. So
Same here, buddy. Same here.
Yeah. So I mean, more or less for me, since I'm running operations, I typically don't need to be pulling stock cars behind my -9. That should be something pulled behind my F units. So, but I'm not totally era specific with my layout either. So I run from the 60s all the way to 95. So that's a lot of years.
Yeah, I'm sitting at 1950 to 1970, so I can run a decent mix of just about everything.
Yeah. The only locomotives that I have are not prototypical, or is this one here. And that is because Southern Pacific never had any units or FPs in daylight. They were all Black Widow. Or they were repainted to the bloody nose. And this is actually my camera unit. I don't know if y'all can see the camera in the engineer's windshield. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So this is an actual dummy locomotive that I glued a camera inside it.
Nice.
I just got to figure out where, even with the shell, would be the microphone on the thing. So that way I can get better sound, because it sounds really crappy. But there's all my components on the inside. And I had to modify the shell too.
I wish you would have did a video on that.
I did this before starting my channel, but I did do a video explaining how I did it. It's way, way back. I would say I probably posted that video June or July of 2020. So, and I started in May. So
I'll check it out. Well, all right, fellas, I'm out of here.
Yeah, me too. So
I'll see y'all later. I'll catch y'all tomorrow.
So y'all take care, and I will see y'all next time. And if not, then I'll see y'all tomorrow night.
Sounds good.
All right, y'all take care, everyone. Have a great weekend.